with like their online capabilities and people that can like emulate stuff and play online with that. There's almost no reason for the kids to like not get out of the house other than not be fat. Good luck with that. But other than that, social interaction, there's a complete difference between like actually seeing people be pissed off because you're still doing the same cheese combo than just hearing people be pissed off because you're doing the same cheese combo.
Yeah, I'd rather.
All you Ken players that play Street Fighter 4, you know what I'm talking about.
I like playing against people, like physically playing against people, and then being able to shake their hand and say, good game. You know what I'm saying? You can't do that online. You can say, you can say over Xbox Live, good game.
And then the other person will say, you suck, and then just cut you off.
Yeah, or get out of the game. Whereas in an arcade, they physically have to walk away from the machine. And most people aren't going to do that. Like, I've had people just stay around and play against me for like 20 matches just because, they were like, I'm not letting the chick beat me. I'm not going to let her beat me. I'm going to win, and they would keep playing, and it's like...
And every time they lost, that was a little piece of dignity that just went away with it.
Yeah, but there are some exceptions. There are some people that I played against that were really good, and it was an equal battle of wills. Like, when I play against my husband, that's an equal battle of wills. He and I would have played constantly in the arcade, had we been in the same age group and era and all that. But
the same era?
The same era. He's a little bit older, but he and I would have played, like, all the time against each other, and we would have wasted a lot of money on MK2 just because that's the kind of game you want to play against other human players. You want to play against people, physically playing against them in the arcade. And now I was sorry that I met my husband when I did, because it was at the tail end of, when arcades were really falling apart, and we couldn't just run down to the local arcade and play. The only time we have played against each other in an arcade setting, and that's been like Third Strike. We played against each other in Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, but it's very rarely did we ever get a chance to play each other because there was there was nothing else to play there besides Tekken, and I'm not good at Tekken, so it really wasn't. We really didn't get a whole lot of chance to play against each other, but we apparently were in the arcades at the same time, knew the same people, and knew how we both knew how arcades worked. So it was interesting. We swapped stories about going to tournaments and hosting tournaments, and playing against certain people in tournaments that we both knew. And it's that kind of thing where you get to swap war stories about playing in a nasty, hot, crowded arcade.
You're making it sound like we're all grizzled vets.
We are.
4 years ago, man, down in the trenches of that hot-ass arcade.
Yeah, man. I feel like we're veterans of that industry. We were lucky enough to have been born in the 80s where arcades were still in their prime. I feel sorry for the kids that were born like 2000. They'll never understand going to an arcade and spending, your last bit of allowance and slash lunch money to play video games, or skipping school to go play in an arcade because, they just got a new machine now.
Yep.
It's so much dying. Like, I want to be able to tell my kids, hey, let's go down to the arcade, play, Street Fighter 60 or something like that. I want to be able to...
Well, considering they finally figured out how to count to 4, maybe they can actually get up that high.
Street Fighter was notorious about not being able to count past 2. I was like, come on, Capcom, come on. There is another number besides Street Fighter 2.
Like, remember when they actually made it to Street Fighter 3? We actually threw a party here for it.
Yes, we did. When they announced 3 coming out, I was like, oh my god, there is a 3? This is unbelievable.
Like, I'll buy the pizza.
But yeah, I miss that. And I also miss it was a sad day when there was no more Mortal Kombat produced in the arcade. I was so sad about that, just because Mortal Kombat was built for the arcade. And now it's like, oh God, what is this trifling mess?
True.
This is just trifling. And don't get me wrong, I love Ed Boon, I love John Spies, but it really should have stopped it. For me, it should have stopped at 3. And I know how you feel about that. I know that you wish it stopped
Should
at 2.
have stopped at 2, because after 3 it went like straight to hell.
But 3 was still, I could still play 3. Even right now, if I found a 3 machine, even if I found like an ultimate machine, I could still play it as if I never stopped playing it. You know, I can literally see myself playing it and getting the concepts and doing all. It's just, it's been so many years that now it's, if I found a machine, it would be like, you know, walking into the Garden of Eden or something, and, you know, being told, you can have anything you want. Here's an MK3 machine. I
can see you now. You hit your knees.
Thanks, God. I would thank God. I did actually find a machine in Greenville. They had somebody had an ultimate machine, but the coin slot was jammed.
You were telling me about that. Wasn't it like in the Planet Comics or something like that?
No, they had an MK2 machine at Planet Comics, but they
awesome.
Well, it wasn't working. They had to fix it.
Damn it.
They really had to do some work on that machine. All the wiring on the inside were all screwed up, just jumbled up, and it was obvious someone had damaged that machine. But no, they had one.
Someone got pissed off that Malene was looking at.
They had one at it was at a flea market in Greenville, and my husband and I, like 2 other friends of ours went. They came and picked us up. They were in town and came and picked us up, and we went up to the flea market and played, and it was like, wow, it was like a religious experience. I was like, we need to come back and ask the dude how much he wants for it. But I don't know. If I could get a machine now, I would have one. I wouldn't keep it on at all times, but I would have one and just.
It's like let it run over the weekend, something like that.
Yeah, I would have it on the weekend, but I mean, just because I would love to have an MK machine in my house, that would be on the level of awesomeness that no one has ever seen.
But there was like Ted, our friend Ted, who had like his own stand-up machine, but he was able to get like the jammer boards that could fit, because he had like the machine that had like the six button layout. There's a lot of games that had the 6-button layout. Even games that had like the 4-button layout, you could still like map to that. Like you could just do that. Yeah,
well, the thing about his was that it was so much trouble for him to switch out his board from a non-Capcom system that he tended to not put anything non-Capcom in. He would pull out Ultimate MK3 every now and then, but
it just plays weird.
Yeah, it really played strange. But he switched out the cardboard part where it separated around the button, and that's how he could play it, and he would just keep his buttons on that way. He would just cover up a button that way.
And another way that you could do that, I started noticing on eBay, they have arcade machines where instead of just having like the jammer boards or anything like that, they like actually have a computer in there, you know, like MAME or something like that.
Yeah. I have MAME on my laptop, and it's I don't play it that often because I have to reset all my settings every single time. Like I have to put in my button combination for MK2 every single time.
I thought you could save dip switch.
I wish I could, but it's hard for me to do it, and it's it does something strange. So like every time I play MK2, I have to go back in and set my buttons, which is hard as crap to figure out what button. It takes me a little while. So I had to draw a little diagram about what should be what, and it's hard, but MAME is great. I wish MAME were a little bit easier for me to set up, but MAME is great. You know, and maybe that could be the forerunner for arcades. Just